When you hate who you are, when you're being who they want you to be. When no one likes you when you are who you're proud to call me. When you wish people weren't like the only people you see. When you had faith and could believe in belief. When nothing else matters but finding a plug. When you give it all up for a bed nice and snug. When those who know you think you're little more than a thug. When every good deed gets swept under a rug. When you're lucky enough to never get caught. Just never lucky enough to ever get what you want. When you can't help but miss shooting your shot. When you had reason but just not a lot. Now you know how I feel and why nothing feels real. Why I'm the bad guy with a hole I can't fill. Why I'm always so bored in a world without thrill. Why I end every day with a handful of pills. Now you know how I feel. Yes, you know how it feels. When you look at your life and the way that you live, seeing no one who matters with any damns left to give. When you could die right now or forevermore live, and know nothing would change, not for you or for them. When you are what you are and all you ever been. When you know it'd be different if you could do it again. When you only lose because you don't care to win. When there's nothing left to do, when you take away your sins. When you ask all the questions that no one wants to hear. When you stick up for the losers and nobody cheers. When you argue a point that everyone fears. When the truth is more important in a world full of tears. Now you know how I feel and why nothing feels real. Why I'm the bad guy with a hole I can't fill. Why I'm always so bored in a world without thrill. Why I end every day with a handful of pills. Now you know how I feel. Yes, you know how it feels. When it all comes too easy without ever coming cheap. When the battle's always uphill and the hill's always steep. When you're just so exhausted but you can't get to sleep. When all those who you pass watch you walk down the street. When you're halfway to the end and it's only been fun. When you broke all the rules and lived life on the run. When you apologize for nothing but regret it more than someone. You're the smartest